Hi everyone. A bit of an impromptu video here. We've been asked a lot by a lot of you what's happening behind the scenes, why have we gone so quiet on social media, is there something sort of under the water waiting to come to fruition? And there is, and I thought I would just touch base with you all today to tell you a bit more about what that is. So I am vlogging at the request of a lot of you guys. Again, did the last one back in sort of March, April time now, quite a while ago. But I don't have with me today the proper team to do the sound, the lighting, the video, etc. So you have to forgive me if it's a little bit shaky. What's prompted this is this photograph, and I will put this on the screen for you now so you can see this. This is a photograph, it just came through to me on WhatsApp. It's taken by a friend of mine. And what you're seeing there is school uniform, which is specifically advertised in London here with stab vests from £19.99p. This really frames a lot of the work that's been happening behind the scenes here, so I think it's only fair that we fill you in on a bit more about our work we've been doing and how it's going to impact all of you. So the first thing to say is we are unbelievably approaching our 7-year anniversary. On the 17th of September 2019, so just a couple of weeks away now, our organisation turns 7. 7 years ago, we were putting together the very first logo. Some of you are still with us from 2012, it's incredible. You'll remember how this looked, but we were putting together a sort of a rough or community-based organisation with a view to collecting perhaps a few hundred people who might share our values and emphases. Today, 7 years on, we have in excess of 16,000 members and counting. It was 12,500 members when we last spoke. It's already 16,000 members and it's growing exponentially. We can't really keep up with the growth. So I think it's a really, really good time for us to actually tie in some of the big updates ready for September the 17th. We'll celebrate the organisation turning 7 with the unveiling of a brand new website and members area. The new members area is lightning fast, and then included in this new members area is a ton of new features and tools at no extra cost to you all with your memberships. One of the big things in there, which I know some of you have been really patiently waiting for, so thank you so much, is level 1 and level 2 instructor qualifications. It's included online. They're vocational qualifications, so most of it can be done online. Some of it requires practical work, but you don't need to come to us, you don't need to pay us a penny for it, you can submit it to us in modern digital formats. So the level 1, level 2 coaching qualification will be available to every premium registered member of our association, so Digital Full and Pro, within the next few weeks. We've taken on board all of your feedback since Club BMABA went live in 2017, so we've taken the last couple of years of feedback and we've put this into action. So we've got a really lean members area with none of the sort of big headline graphics that cut to the page, just really concise, precise details that make it really easy for you to get done what you need to do. The site is just blazingly fast. We've got a brand new hosting setup, so it's rapidly fast. And perhaps most importantly and most interestingly to you all, we're now going to be rolling or phasing out the use of the Instructor portal. So this dreaded 2-login system where you have to log into Club and the Instructor portal, that will soon be a thing of the past. So we have the ability now for our systems to talk properly to one another, so you can see things like your membership details, your insurance details, your documentation directly in Club BMABA. So the new members area is in beta testing. We're inviting a few of you to log in and try this for us and let us know what you think. If you're interested in, if you're a registered member and you're interested in trying out the new members area before it sort of goes live on September 17th, let us know. We'd like to have you involved in the testing phase. The reason we've chosen to produce this new members area and have this big update really stems from a year now of rapid success. We picked up bronze at the Association Excellence Awards last October for the best sports association. That for us in 2018 was enormous. It was our first sort of major award. It was an out of industry award, which is more important to us because it shows that we haven't been rubber stamping our organisation with other organisations for cash. It's coming from an external awards provider. And since then we've picked up this flurry of media interest and awards. We've won Best Governing Body Initiative with the Sports Business Awards. We've picked up Best Sports Association from the GBI Magazine Awards as well. And we've been in the Telegraph, BBC Radio, the likes over the last few months. It's really grown our organisation to a critical mass where we are now, without advertising a penny, without spending a penny on advertising in the last 7 years, 16,000 members. We are going to start actively advertising a little bit over the next 12 months to bring in new members who perhaps haven't heard of us, but it's not going to detract from what we do as an organisation. And this brings me back to the photograph I showed you at the start of this video and what's been happening over the last few months, which coincidentally is why you haven't had many updates from us on social media for the last couple of months. I'm really, really pleased to say now that we've been a social enterprise for a number of years, which means we reinvest all of our profits back into the BMABA's growth and development. We don't take it out in salaries and dividends and shares. We keep it in the organisation and use it towards its community goals. There is a huge problem in this country with the divide of wealth, and social injustice is rife in every single community. Something close to my heart from my own personal experience as a child is childhood poverty, and we've always been trying to chomp away at the issue, and we've had a number of martial arts community initiatives that have been running through the organisation now for over a year that have been trying to address these imbalances and these injustices using martial arts. We are now in the very final phases, and this coincidentally is why we're not ready for 1st September. We're in the very final few phases of signing off the launch of the BMABA Fighting Chance Charitable Foundation. This is a charitable CIO, a charitably incorporated organisation, so it is a legally registered charitable foundation. What the Fighting Chance Foundation will do is work in tandem with our association to provide a number of charitable goals that are aimed at addressing social injustices. So what we're talking about here is things like childhood poverty, things like violence against women and girls, things like knife crime. We recognise that martial arts has this incredible ability to change lives. It changed my life. It took me away from potentially, almost certainly, a life of crime. It potentially even saved my life as a young man by giving me that sort of sense of worth, the discipline, power and energy, something within me to focus on. And while some of my friends were continuing down a very bad life path, this club I was training with, this Thai boxing club, led me in a very different direction. And I wouldn't be sat here today if it hadn't been for that Thai boxing club. And this was a rough and ready Thai boxing club where the instructor charged quid if you could afford it to train. Health and safety wasn't there, insurance wasn't there, all that sort of stuff. But it was a really good nitty-gritty traditional Thai boxing club, and I can say it certainly changed my life, if not saved it. So we want to try and inspire a generation of change through the work all of you doing on a day-to-day basis with your clubs. This doesn't affect the way the association runs at the moment. Your insurances, licensing, student registrations, etc. It all continues to run exactly as it is. In fact, it'll get better because we'll be introducing a load of new features on 17th of September along with our new members area. So your membership package will just go that bit further. But what the foundation will do will allow us to clearly run a number of charitable programs that are genuinely charitable, and we can prove it at last. So this ominous martial arts thing of saying, oh, we're not for profit, and then sort of no registration numbers, no company numbers, no links to anything, and the sort of ominous questions about, well, how charitable is it? It's gone. We are registered with the Charity Commission, who have just the most stringent checks and balances in place, which is why we're still going through the final vetting stages now. So it'll be registered with the CC. Every penny that goes into the charity will go towards our charitable causes. We will run through each of the charitable programs in a bit more detail when we have them ready to go into beta testing, which will happen on the 17th of September. At that stage, we'll be asking all of you registered instructors, if you want to enrol in the programs and start running them at club level with your students. It's free to do, doesn't cost you a penny to do so, and you can start making a difference at club level as well. Very briefly, the headline program will be our scholarship program. And this is about tackling childhood poverty. It's about making sure a child growing up in poverty, can access martial arts training completely free of charge. They can train all the way through to being 18 years of age and obtaining their black belt, first dan or equivalent. If they're the right person for it, we will put them through their instructor qualifications and training, and we'll ensure and license and register them as an instructor for free for 2 years. The idea is that they can then help serve your club's growth by taking lessons for you, helping your club grow, and in turn we're lifting that person out of a life of poverty by providing with them with their own income, where they can teach as an instructor themselves. It's a lifelong qualification. This is a life cycle program. We're not talking about a 6-week program. We're talking about taking someone at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and taking them all the way through the training to 18 and then supporting them as a young adult teaching martial arts. So that is a scholarship program. It to me is just one of the most important things, because most things stem from poverty. So I know when I was growing up as a child, you're looking down the barrel of minimum wage jobs, normally 0 hours if you're lucky, and of course then we have county lines, drug dealers. You'll have that BMW turn up at the school gates, and the chap inside, the young man, has a nice car, flash watch, nice phones, wads of money, and it's all too tempting when you look at your parents working 70, 80, 90 hour weeks and still struggling to put food on the table or electric in the meters. it's too tempting to see that and think, why will I bother? Why should I bother spending the rest of my life working that hard for nothing in return when there is this seemingly easy way out? So the scholarship program will underpin everything we do, tackling childhood poverty through martial arts. Built into this will be our Ditch the Blade campaign. Now this is on the back of our work with the Home Office's Knife Free campaign. This is about education on knife crime. We're not saying, I can't stress this enough, this is a real sticking point for me. It is not about teaching someone to fight off a blade. We all know, especially if you're in reality-based martial arts, we all know if someone tries to stab you and they really want to, they probably will. If they do stab you, you're probably going to die. So this is not about teaching someone to feel empowered and confident to tackle a knife when they're probably going to die. It's not about that. Yes, teaching those critical life-saving self-defense skills is really important, but you can't do that in 2-3 weeks. You can't do it on a school visit. That needs to be entrenched, conditioned training that takes months and years to develop. So yes, part of it is about teaching last resort self-defense, breakaway training to help somebody escape that situation and run. But obviously the only way you can avoid being stabbed is not be in a fight at all. So the Ditch the Blade program will have a sort of a two-pronged approach. The first angle will be about education, about the dangers of knife crime, the life of gangs and drugs, and the way knife crime is played on that, and that's about interaction and engagement with school children. And we need to go right the way back to primary education here. That we feel that there's too much focus on secondary school at the point at which knives are carried, but by that point there's an entrenched behaviour, and we need to go right back to Key Stage 1 and 2 to really get this message across. And as I say, the second stage is about deterring knife crime through martial arts, be that practical self-defense training designed as a last resort measure, not designed to advertise the ability to defend a knife because it's just nonsense. But perhaps more importantly, it's providing that access to sport, to that all-important focus, something somebody, a young person, can focus on, that martial art, that training, day in and day out, day to day, week to week, month to month, that is consistent, and to provide other options other than gangs and knives. The third program we're going to be piloting in September 17th when we go live is Punch Like a Girl. Now, Punch Like a Girl is a program to help more women and girls get into martial arts with a specific emphasis on learning self-defense or self-protection training. Now, there is this argument we hear quite a lot whenever we mention our previous affiliation with White Ribbon, with whom we registered, and any work we do on female violence is, well, what about men? We're not saying violence against men isn't important or that it doesn't happen. Of course it does, and it's something that needs to be tackled for sure, and we will get to it, we really will. But initially this is about addressing a huge imbalance of figures and statistics. So for our membership base, for example, we know now that our instructor base is made up of about 92% men and 8% women. Participation rates, we've managed to turn around a little bit, so we're now around 25% female participants to about 75% men. But outside of our association, those rates are closer in some places to sort of, 90% men against 10% women taking part in martial arts. If we flip that on the head and we look at the rates of domestic abuse and violence, we're talking about statistics in the range of 85 to 95% women. So that 85 to 95% victim range is represented by only sometimes 5 to 15% participation rate. So we're not saying that it's more important than violence against men, whether that's male violence on male or female on male. We're just saying that there's a huge injustice here, and what needs to change is perceptions. We need to get past this idea that martial arts is in some way not fitting for ladies. That's rubbish, absolute rubbish. So the Punch Like a Girl program will be about showing and promoting female participation in martial arts, whether that's mixed martial arts and Muay Thai, kickboxing, taekwondo, karate, whatever it doesn't matter, with an underlying emphasis on self-defense training. And part of our play into this program will be about specifically working with referrals from vulnerable women and girls, whether that's women who are at risk of abuse or previous victims of domestic abuse and violence. So providing the tools to feel empowered and safe and confident for the rest of their lives. So those are the first three headline programs. Now we have more programs in the wings that are in beta testing. We have programs around bullying, around inclusive martial arts. I'm not going to go into huge roughs of detail right now on the charitable programs. We'll save that for the Foundation's official launch when we have that all-important charitable number. But really this is to say, we're sorry that you haven't heard more from us over the last few months. We haven't gone quiet. We are still very much here, just working our backsides off to get this ready for you. It is an absolutely enormous undertaking. What we're doing is effectively auditing, reviewing, and then rebuilding all the best parts of the association while stripping out all the rubbish in we've been doing this in a 3-month window, so it's just been incredibly busy. trying to make the most of that quiet period of the summer holidays when most of you are enjoying a bit of downtime. So yes, 17th of September, the new members area will go live. We're not going to switch off club, we're not going to do anything drastic and pull the rug out from under your feet. Things will continue like normal, but what you will see is new email addresses, new communication routes, new websites, new technology, new features all going live. As always, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube will be the first to be updated, and we're going to try and put as many of you into the new system as we can as quickly as possible. But don't worry about the way this is going to work. We're going to try and make it as smooth as possible. There's inevitably always going to be some teething issues and sort of work in progresses with this sort of stuff. So we'll start migrating people across on a case-by-case basis, but we're not going to switch off the old system straight away. So don't worry about that. But it should provide a really exciting set of tools and services for you all. So that's it for now. We will post on the blog or update to you all when we have a bit more information to share. But for now, this is a quick update to say there is some really major work in progress. It's drastic work that's going to change the way martial arts works in our country, the way martial arts is applied to those most in need, and on a sort of a more commercial basis, if you like. It's going to be a lot of tools and services to help you run a more efficient club and to gain more new members.